cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut.
Today's episode is brought to you by ETB Games. ETB Games is, of course, our locals in Alexandria, Louisiana. They are our one-stop shop for all of our card game needs. They have singles and sealed product for the games that you love, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, and Pokemon. Of course, you can also find the accessories that you need, such as sleeves, binders, playmats, and more. And if you're into D&D, well, they have all of your D&D figurines, the paint for the figurines, dice, books, and anything that you would need to play. So be sure to check out ETB Games. There's a link in the description down below. And now, back to today's episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. I am, of course, Sunny. I'm here with my co-host, Caleb.
Hello.
And we are super duper duper excited to get on into today's ban list discussion. So, real quick, before we do that, I want to thank our sponsor. So a huge thank you to, of course, ETB Games, who you saw an ad for at the top of this video. Also want to thank Steelfox Games, another game store that we go to a lot up in Shreveport, Louisiana. They have a regional coming up on February 26th. If you want to check that out, I will be there. I think Caleb should be there. We will see, but we would love to see you there. And I believe they will have Time Wizard Edison tournaments as well on the side, if that's something you want to do. And it would be a great time to come check out the new format. No, we also want to thank, of course, Gem Accessories and Millennium Threads. We have links down below with discount codes to both. And of course, we want to thank Dragon Shield and TCG Player. We have affiliate links for both Dragon Shield and TCG Player down below. Now what that means is you just click it before you shop. And of course, we get a little bit of a kickback, so it supports the podcast at no extra cost to yourself. Of course, the most direct way to support us financially would be our Patreon, where you get an extra episode every week. And of course, the best way to support the podcast overall with the least impact on you would be to just go down below the video and check to see if you have checked that subscribe button. If it's grayed out, that means you're subscribed. Sometimes if you've already subscribed, YouTube will unsubscribe you for some weird reason. So if you could go ahead and check that real quick, we'll be back. We'll wait. Okay, now that you've checked that, and we really appreciate that, let's go ahead and get on into today's ban list discussion.
Heck yeah.
So, we had a ban list.
Yes, the ban list just so happened to have dropped earlier today as of recording.
Right, so what that naturally means is we had to scrap an entire episode that we already had recorded, and we'll have to re-record for Friday.
Yep.
Because, well, we talked about the ban list in that episode, and, well, it's now useless information.
Yeah.
So, but of course...
It'd be like that sometimes.
Right. Of course, we do want to be happy and embrace this, because this is really kind of unprecedented in a way.
Pretty hefty. Hold on, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Like 19 cards.
Yeah,
moved.
And really, when I say it's unprecedented, what I personally mean is not the number of cards moving around, because 19 really isn't that much these days.
Also, oddly enough, one of them isn't effective until March 10th.
Yeah, that's normal.
I wonder why this one specific card.
Errata.
Oh.
They're waiting for the errata printing to be released for Ancient Fairy.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I'm sure most of you know at this point what all is on the ban list.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and actually, there's one thing I want to talk about before we do ban list discussion. And I hate to bury the lead here, but this is something that I personally am very passionate about, and that I think is a very important thing to discuss. The workers at TCG Player are attempting to unionize currently.
Woo! Good on them.
Now, this is something that's pretty near and dear to my heart for a couple of reasons. One, I am a union worker. I, as a UPS driver, am a member of a union, and I've seen what that union does for me, both positively and negatively. I'm not completely jaded. I know that unions are not a perfect thing, but it gives we as employees the right to work together to make our lives better. So, in an attempt to make their lives better, we here at the podcast, well, I say that, I didn't ask Caleb before I said all this, but I can say for me personally anyway, I stand with the employees at TCG Player. I stand for with them on their efforts. That means if things happen like services get interrupted at TCG Player due to something like a strike, I will stand with those employees. If something happens where prices go up a little bit because the employees are now making more money because they've unionized and they've fought for those rights, that's fine. I'll pay that extra money because to me, unionized workers are workers that are getting more. They're getting more pay. They're getting more benefits. They're getting more time with their families because being unionized helps prevent excessive overtime. These are all things that a union provides and a union helps with. They're getting retirement. They're getting all these things. They're not classified. They won't, ideally, if they're unionized, they won't be classified as just contract employees and be denied a ton of benefits and rights. It is important to stand with these workers in their time of need and in their time of solidarity. So, with that said, I want where I stand personally to be very forthright. I feel like it's very important that we know what's happening here and that we stand with these employees and these people, because that's what it's people. And it's about people trying to better themselves and better their lives. So I just wanted to say my piece on that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm very passionate about when workers want to unionize. I think that it's an important thing. And I'm very passionate about it. I'll leave it at that. But
I too am very pro-union.
right. So, and I know that like we try to stay away from politics on this show. We stay away from religion. We stay away from money topics. We stay away from all of that because for a number of reasons.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a group of people who are trying to make their lives better, who just so happen to work in a field that will actually affect us. And I'm just like, yeah, sure, cool. I'll pay an extra whatever it is.
Right.
10 cents at most.
It could be more than that. It could be realistically, there could be a real impact on their e-commerce and a real impact on their prices and things like that. Just like UPS as a unionized workforce, if you try to ship something and you price it, usually UPS is the most expensive. But our employees are happier.
Mm-hmm.
We make 3 times as much money as our counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
We have benefits that our counterparts do not have.
Oh, yeah.
So every time I talk to a driver for FedEx, it's always the same things. Wow, you guys make triple what we make. Wow, you guys have fully employer covered medical, dental, and vision and retirement for your entire family. Like, wow.
Especially considering that that over the years this job will literally destroy you physically.
Right, and that's why those benefits are so important.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. No, that's why I am incredibly pro-union
Yeah.
across all jobs, just about.
Yeah, I'll say we grew up in the hyper conservative deep south. And honestly, that's an understatement.
Listen. I didn't read Harry Potter until I was in high school.
Right.
Because that was a big no-no.
Yeah.
You were not allowed to have anything to do with it.
Yeah. This is something that I've never really put out there publicly. It's something that I've never talked about because it makes me uncomfortable. But I grew up in an extremely conservative household, and I carried a lot of those beliefs and a lot of those ideals and thoughts with me from a young age up to, into adulthood. And the more I get out and the more I go outside of what would have been my comfort zone before, talking to people and learning from others' experiences and other people's, I think shared experience gives perspective, and perspective is the most important thing a person can have. And I've changed almost everything I believe because of gaining perspective and talking to people and understanding other people's beliefs and thoughts and viewpoints. But at the same time, I'm really not proud of that. And that is why we don't really discuss politics much on the show, because I kind of hate politics as somebody who grew up extremely conservative and has since changed pretty much most all of my viewpoints on pretty much anything related to politics. it's been so tumultuous for me that I hate talking about it.
Oh, that's entirely fair.
So, but this, I feel needs to be talked about. I'm very, very passionately pro-union in this particular circumstance, especially seeing how much a union has changed my life. So, I think it's safe to say that without me being in a union, this podcast does not happen.
Oh, no, not at all. It never would have happened.
The union is the reason that I make good enough money to buy the equipment that we needed to make this podcast happen.
Yeah.
You know, being a content creator is not cheap. It takes upfront investment.
Oh,
to
yeah.
do it.
It takes a fair amount of upfront investment as well.
Right. I mean, buying decent microphones, and I don't know if you can see it on the shot, but like I've got a whole soundboard over here. Like all these things cost money, and
it's not cheap if you're starting from nothing.
Right. And I mean, I've converted an entire room in my house into a space for recording and a space for this hobby, and I've put a lot of time and effort into this. And to be completely honest, we haven't even come close to recouping the monetary investment that I've put in this, both in physical dollars spent and in hours spent on this, passion project. That's why we have advertisers, and that's why we have our Patreon, is because we put an enormous amount of, love and time into something that is, for the most part, like I said, a passion project. And, like I said, we want this to become something that's sustainable. I want to build a new PC so I can do streaming. I want to stream like 3 nights a week. And that's just not something that I've ever been able to do because computers are expensive. So I had enough upfront.
Well, a good computer is expensive.
Well, yeah. I had enough upfront to, I already had a computer, but this is not something you can stream on.
No.
And I already have had enough upfront for some microphones and stuff like that. But, we want to do more. So
Yeah. Like, I want to do my own stream, but I don't have
a setup. Yeah.
I have a setup.
A place.
I don't have a place where there isn't just some constant noise in the background and
yeah, you don't have a good environment for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've got a good environment for it, but I don't have
the equipment.
The equipment. Yeah. It's really a catch-22.
Yep.
But I'm sorry, I derailed us for like 10 minutes to talk about that. It's just something I'm very passionate about.
And
but
it is something that is important to talk about.
Yes. But let's talk about the ban list. This is obviously the thing that everybody is here for.
Yes.
This is the thing that everybody wants to this is the thing that everybody wants to hear about and talk about. So let me we're gonna go ahead and talk about the let's talk about the forbidden cards first.
Sure. Oh, well, of course. Let's normally start at the top of a list.
Yes. So we have 4 newly forbidden cards. Starting at the top, we have Artifact Scythe.
Too little, too late.
Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds.
Finally.
Tearlaments Kikalos.
Ooh, spicy.
Sprite Elf.
Okay.
I'm loving these little quips.
Yeah.
Agido the Ancient Sentinel.
Well, it got limited. Now we're in limited.
Yeah, now we're in limiteds. Okay, I'm sorry. I jumped and didn't say anything. Now we're on to the limited, starting with Agido the Ancient Sentinel.
Okay, fair.
Kelbeck the Ancient Vanguard, Keldo the Sacred Protector, and Medora the Sword Oracle.
Yeah, they literally did exactly what we said needed to be done.
Yeah, okay.
They limited all of these Shizu cards.
Then we also limited tier limits Havnus, Merly, and Sheeran.
So that's already 4 cards against tier that are tier limit specific.
Yes, they moved Ancient Fairy from banned to limited, although this particular limitation doesn't take place until March 10th, which is nearly a month after this list takes effect.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming that this basically confirms a reprint in whatever set releases on March 10th. Do we know what that is?
I don't know. I will look it up real quick.
Okay. And then your no semi-limited cards, and then your newly unlimited cards are Destrudo the Lost Dragon's Frisian, Jet Synchron, Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion, Servant of Endymion, True King Lithosagem the Disaster, Yatagarasu, and Spiral Resort. So,
Maze of Memories booster pack.
Oh,
That's where we're getting
the Gate Guardian support.
yeah, that's where we're finally getting actual Gate Guardian
Let's
support.
go. Oh, I'm so excited for that. Okay, so upcoming though, this ban list takes effect on February 13th, 2023. I almost said 2013. Oh my goodness. February 13th, 2023, which is next Monday, 1 week from today. So this list will take effect a couple of days after YCS Leon, which is this coming weekend, and it will be in effect for YCS Vegas, which is next weekend. So let's go through and talk about it one by one. First off, Artifact Scythe. Like Caleb said, this is kind of too little too late. Artifact Scythe feels like a...
It really feels like they went, all right, you've been complaining about it long enough, and then we were just like, we haven't complained about it in like months.
Well, we complained about it on our last ban list episode.
Yeah,
but like
it was a problem months ago.
It was a problem a year ago. It was a problem 10 years ago.
Yeah,
Well, almost, not quite, but almost.
It's not quite like it's still a thing, but it's not like the thing that every deck does now anymore.
Right. The issue with Artifact Scythe to me is that there will always be
there's always going to be a deck that can abuse it.
Right.
And it does not feel good getting scythed.
No, it really doesn't. The issue is that there's so many decks now that it's like, oh, can you Scythe Lock? Then Scythe Lock.
Yeah, just Scythe Lock.
Yeah, like, for example, here's a great example, right? When Skyhawk saw this list, he's like, okay, well, you know, we've been expecting an Artifact Scythe hit for like a year now. Now we pivot. Because Fluffle had been Scythe Locking for a year because there's just...
Why would you do anything else?
Exactly. What's the reason in figuring out something else to do it? It's right there. You can Scythe Lock inherently in the deck.
Why would you put out a board that's got like 2 bounces, a negate, a non-targeted pop, and like flip face
something
down?
else? Sure.
Yeah, like a long list when you can just go cool, a pop and a Scythe Lock.
Right.
The pop and Scythe Lock is just far superior to any other board.
Pretty much, especially when you can even do like, you know, instead of doing maybe 2 negates plus plus a pop plus, a bounce and a graveyard lockdown. Well, maybe we just do 1 negate, a pop in the graveyard lockdown, and now add in a Scythe Lock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or some decks were just kind of going, I'm not even going to bother with all that and just Scythe Lock.
Right. I mean, if you look at the Live Twin, what was it, Live Twin Sprite?
Yeah.
It was like Scythe Lock Pro.
Yeah, it was literally just Scythe Lock Turbo, just combo until I get Scythe ready to go, and then pass.
Yeah, I mean, for a while, Drytron had just devolved into Scythe Lock.
Yeah.
The deck. So
yeah, and I remember back when I was on Phantom Knights, it was just Scythe Lock the deck with that DPE in rotation.
I mean, but that's the issue with Scythe Lock.
Yeah,
as long as there's a card that pops something on the field,
it's
a problem.
Yeah, that can just it's ugh.
All right, the next card is Barrier Statue of the Stormwind. So this one is really, really interesting to me.
So, in my opinion, Flu's probably actually going to be a little bit more interesting to play against now.
Oh, for sure. I think Flu is infinitely more interesting of a deck now that this is a thing, because there's actual back and forth with Flu now. Before it was, oh, okay, they just summon the Barrier Statue, and now you, for the most part, good chance you just lose now.
Yeah, but now it's like now the only floodgate that they can just search out is Impin, and even then you can play around Impin very easily.
Yes,
I've done it. It's not that hard.
It's really not. All you have to do is just special summon everything in defense mode to before you clear their field.
Yep.
I did it one time where they had the trap card, or they had a set back row. They had an Empen and they had the field spell.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally special summon Ecclesia in defense position. Activate Ecclesia, special summon Taya in defense position.
Activate
Taya, make Baxia in defense position, and use Baxia to shuffle too.
Yep.
And they were like, oh, I just lose. I'm like, yeah.
And
which I know that sounds real bad, but keep in mind that Sword Soul specifically has a ridiculously good Flu on Reason matchup. If you compare it with a deck like the no longer existing tier limit deck,
Yeah.
it's a very different story.
Oh yeah, no. It's definitely one of those things. Like again, because you can just special and defense and just go off. Not every deck can do that. And then of course you have other decks that just kind of look at that and go, man, I can't do anything because of the barrier statue. So I'm just going to set 5 pass.
I mean, yeah. So what's really interesting though is I think that this has other implications beyond barrier statue itself, and even beyond Fluanderies, because now it makes me wonder, let's be really honest here. Do we think that some more Link 3 can come off the list now?
I think it can, because it can no longer just barrier statue lock you. Now, at best, you're getting the Apex Avian negate once.
Sure.
And that's about it.
Sure. But is that too powerful in the bird up deck that is already broken?
I don't think so. Again, a part of that is because to me anyway. Whenever I'm thinking, keep in mind this is me going from maybe 3 decks POVs.
Yeah.
Maybe 4. Is okay. So like from more back row heavy decks, they're just like cool, whatever. Set 4 pass, or even just set 4 passing immediately locks them out of summoning the Apex Avian.
Right.
So it's no longer a valid target unless you activate something. And even then, at that point, you're disrupting and blah, blah, blah. From a Kashtri, from the Kashtira POV, it's just kind of, I'm just going to lock down your main monster zone so you don't even have enough room to get that far.
Sure.
And then from there's 1 or 2 others where it's just kind of okay, it's 1 negate, that's not that bad. But the big issue comes from the multi-bounce, well, not multi-bounce, it's only one hard one. Is the Ensemble Blue Robin, is that a hard once per turn, or?
It's not a once per turn at all.
Okay, so you have multi-bounces, usually about 2 to 3, sometimes on a rare occasion I've gotten 4.
I've seen 6.
Yeah. That was back in the old build, though.
Sure.
So you have the multi-bounce Ensemble Blue, which is actually kind of easy to work around. The 1 negate from that, and if they're doing the old build, do they start with, like, do they still do Lyrilusk stuff where they just get 2 exceeds to make Draco Future?
I don't see why not.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just like one of those things where it's like, yes, it's a good board. It's broken, but it's not more broken than Kashtira.
Yeah. I think I tend to agree. I think that the Simorgh Link 3 would probably be fine. I don't think it's necessarily any more inherently broken than what other decks are doing right now. But I think we'll have to see. All right, next we have Tier Limits Kit Kalos. This is one of a... okay. I'll just lay it out on the table. Whoever you are, I know somebody from Konami is listening.
Because
whoever you are, hit me up.
Because they literally did everything we suggested.
Literally. We were like, yeah, barrier statue. That would be a good hit.
Ban Scythe, it's a little late for that, but it should still be done.
And I said, you need about 8 total hits to tier limit Ishizu. You need 8 would be about the minimum.
Yeah, and we literally said ban Kit Kalos, limit like all the names just about,
and then limit all the
Ishizu cards. And they did it.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
This is almost the ban list we made.
And I even said Elf is a problem.
Yeah.
And they need to either
limit or ban it.
I really said they need to ban Elf or Merly.
Yeah. Well, it's either, they decided to ban Elf.
Which I'm fine with. I see a lot of other people complaining about this, saying that they hit Sprite, but Elf had become ubiquitous. Elf was in any deck that could put 3 monsters on board.
Elf was in any deck that could utilize Link and Rank 2 monsters.
Which is all of them.
Just about in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Listen, Labyrinth can make Elf.
It's really, really bad with, I mean, almost any deck can Link to.
Well,
which means almost any deck can link a link to and another monster into Elf.
Yeah.
Because Elf is any level, link, or rank 2 monster and another monster, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could literally just make Elf in almost anything, and with how ubiquitous Elf was, that's really a problem. I mean,
especially
if you look at it, Elf was in Sprite,
Mm-hmm.
all the variants of Sprite, which there's like 6 or 8 variants.
To be
of
fair,
Sprite.
it is their main engine card. To
Sure.
be fair.
It was also in, and it does, by the way, Elf, unlike Gigantic and Sprite Starter, which lock you, Elf doesn't lock you.
Yeah.
So you have Elf,
Mm-hmm.
which is in all of the Sprite decks.
Yeah, which we just said.
Okay. It was in tier limit decks.
Because Merly, I think, was level 2.
Yes, Merly was level 2.
Yeah.
And what else? It was in it was in the Runic decks, which it was Runic Sprite. Just like okay. So I guess I could say it's in Gishki, which is Gishki Sprite. I could say it's in Tri-Brigade, which is Tri-Brigade Sprite.
It's also Naturia, which is just Naturia. Well, that's Runic Naturia.
right.
But they still could utilize Elf.
because everything could utilize Elf. This is the problem with Elf. It is
Labyrinth.
generic.
Listen. Labyrinth can utilize Elf, and they only have one level 2 monster that they prefer not to run.
Right.
So most of them aren't even bothering with Elf to begin with. But the fact that you still theoretically could,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous and excessive. It also prevents them from ever doing anything cool with level 2s ever again as long as it's around.
Yes.
It limits...
Future design.
Yeah, it limits future design on level 2s.
I know people don't like the Sprite Elf hit because they want to play all their Sprite decks. And I understand.
Yeah, I get it.
But you have to think of it this way. Power of the Elements released almost 6 months ago to the day.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, as of recording, Power of the Elements was first legal for tournament play 6 months ago to the day.
Yeah.
I think it was August 6th. Because I know we were at a regional on August 6th. And that was the first weekend that it was legal. So consider that. You got 6 months. That is not an unreasonable amount of time for cards to get hit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is a terrible thing to say, but be happy with what you got, you know?
Oh,
so,
yeah. Just be happy that it didn't hit like blue or anything else.
right. And it's kind of crazy, isn't it? Now that we know the ultimate rares for OTS 21, because
Yeah.
Fenrir, Blue, and Rhinoheart
Yeah.
as the 3 ultis, that's kind of crazy.
And they just banned Elf, one of the most important
all
cards.
the tier limit names,
Yeah.
just about, except for Rhinoheart.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing to consider.
Yeah.
All right. So next, let's talk about the rest of the tier limits. We said that to effectively hit the tier limit deck, Havanus, Merlin, and Sheeran, you really have to hit them all. You really need to
Limit the names.
Yeah, you have to make sure that you don't have a critical mass of all of these tier limits. By the way, MBT, I'm talking to you. You're the reason I keep saying critical mass. You said it one time talking about dragon rulers, and now every time there's a deck like this, whether it's Zodiac, whether it's spirals, whether it's tier limits, whether it's dragon rulers, whatever it is, if there's something that there's a bunch of them and you need to have a bunch of them for it to be a problem, I always end up saying it's not a problem until you have a critical mass of them. And I blame you for that, MBT. Anyway.
I mean, it's a great way to describe it.
I mean, yeah, it's literally the perfect way to describe it because it's just true.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that said, I think that this is really the perfect hit for the tier limit deck because you don't really necessarily come after the consistency of the deck as much as you come after the ceiling of the deck because you still have, basically this makes the deck way more normal summon reliant through the likes of Rhino Heart or even normal summoning Sheeran to try to mill. Now, this also is going to make the King of the Swamp version of the deck way, way, way more relevant. But we'll really have to see because between Primitive Planet Perlino, that's basically, here's how you can look at it. Rhino Heart is 3. Planet makes 6.
Yeah.
Each of the names makes 9.
Yep.
Okay, wait. There's more. Terraforming. Okay.
Which is the 4th copy of the field spell.
Essentially. So that's 10. And then if I'm not mistaken, is Rhino Heart an Aqua or a Warrior?
I'm pretty sure he's a warrior.
This is gonna bother me.
Fair.
Because I think you can Rhoda into Rhino Heart. Rhino Heart is a warrior. Is
Okay.
Rhoda level 4 or lower?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you
you can
can
Rhoda.
so you can also Rhoda. So that's 11. So you essentially went from, if you want to put it like that, you went from
16.
12.
Like 16 names.
Yeah, because you had 12.
Because you're not even running Rhoda at that
12
point.
monsters, 2
Three field spells for 15, and then the one terraforming
Yes.
because you're not even bothering with Rhoda at that point.
Yeah, even if you max out with all the ones that we said, because we said
That's
the
17 cards.
9 and then 10 and 11. Yeah, so you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 17 cards down to about 11.
Mhm.
And it really turns into more of an engine or a package rather than
No-
a full build.
Yeah, like not only that, reducing the names from 9 to 3 means that whenever you mill 3, it reduces it from a roughly 1 in 4 chance if your deck has all 40 cards in it, because it's roughly a 1 in 4 chance of you hitting something every single time you mill, because it's 9 out of 40, it's almost 10 out of 40, so 1 in 4, to like 3 out of 40 of you hitting with the mills.
Yeah, I think though, you know what I just thought about?
What's that?
The more I think about it, I think that, you know, the deck I'm most upset about the Sprite Elf for?
What's that?
I think that I'm most upset about Sprite Elf not being usable in the Makonko deck now.
Oh, for a base link.
Slam.
Oh, that's what people are calling it now? Slam?
I saw one of the comments on the original video about
Yeah,
it, and that's what they were calling it, was Slam.
Okay, so I know the M is Makonko.
Sure.
S A Adamantipator? No, A is an Adamantipator.
What engines are in the deck?
I legitimately don't remember. All I remember is it ran Makonko. Oh, Libromancer. Yeah, so L's Libromancer. Something, Libromancer, something, Makonko.
Souls? Magician Souls.
Really?
Yeah, the Magician Souls package, because you're also running the Adventure package.
Okay, so...
Souls, Libromancer, Adventure, Makonko.
Okay, so that's why they're saying Souls there, is just to make it say Slam. Got it.
So come on and slam.
Yeah.
Something jam. I don't know all the words.
Yeah. Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam.
And welcome
Come on
to
and
the
slam,
jam.
and welcome to the jam.
Yeah, that's right. You don't like sports, but you know Space Jam.
Bro.
Come on, Space Jam.
Listen,
all right.
that movie came out, and I was in the age range of that movie.
Yeah, I mean, we all were.
Anyway, so back to the actual ban list itself.
Yes.
Is Slam still viable without Elf?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. It's just that you don't have a way to like reliably bring back Gale Dogra.
Oh, to reuse it again.
Well, to just like, you don't have a reliable way to bring back Gale Dogra once you like, because I think that you like send it from deck to grave somehow and then bring it back with Elf,
Yeah.
and that lets you send the Herald of the Arclight,
Yeah, to grab whatever ritual you need.
Ben 10 to search
Yeah.
the
Souls-
Archlord Christia.
Yeah, or you could also do Souls just to get some draws. Or Illusion of Chaos to get some draws off of Souls.
Right, exactly. Or you could get into your Makonko or Libromancer engines.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a crazy thing.
Yeah. But without Elf, they can't reliably recur the Geldogra. Interesting. So, and then of course there is the errata on the Ancient Fairy Dragon. I believe they're just making a hard once per turn, or
Yes, they're actually making a super hard once per turn. Because he has two effects. One's pop field spell, search field spell, and the other one is an extra normal summon, but you skip
then
your
you skip
battle phase. You can only activate one of those effects per turn.
Oh, okay. So you can either get the field spell pop or the extra normal
Correct.
summon. Okay.
So I guess, and then they'll reprint it in the Guardians of the Maze. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the Shizu names, I feel the exact same. I'm kind of surprised that we got the limit there as quickly as we did.
Yeah, because Mama's only been out for what, 3 months?
Okay, so just for the sake of
Correct information?
well, Mama's been out since November 12th, I think.
Whatever reason my brain said it came out in December.
No, because it was out, and then we had like 1 or 2 events, and then we got that not emergency ban list. We all knew what it was.
Right. Yes. Okay.
I just remembered something.
What was that?
So we recorded an episode yesterday where we talked about all the Dino support and everything like that, and we're scrapping that to talk about the ban list.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Dino stuff on Friday.
Man, I made that awesome thumbnail for nothing.
We can still, we can modify it and still reuse it.
Yeah, we could probably use it for Friday's episode.
Yeah. Anyway,
I made a killer thumbnail. It's such a cool looking thumbnail.
It is. Anyway.
Okay, so for the sake of just kind of knowing where we stand, though, on ban list releases, I'm going to go back and look at all of our podcast catalog. And let's see. Okay, so wait, do we have the... Caleb, do you know how to check the seasons?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, if you go back and look through our seasons, then you can actually see how many episodes we have per season.
Yeah. We have like... normally we have like roughly 30. So
Right.
Friday's episode will be episode 1 of season 8.
No, next Tuesday's episode.
Oh, yeah, next Tuesday.
So... Yes.
No. It'd be whenever this ban list comes into effect. I didn't even see when it comes into effect.
It comes into effect next Monday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So next Tuesday episode will be first episode of episode 8.
Yes.
Season 8.
Yes. Okay. But so we are in season 7, episode 18. That's where we're at right now.
18 episodes of this ban list. Yes.
Yes. Last season we only had 14 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the one before that, though, take a guess on how many episodes we had in between ban lists.
30.
34.
Yeah. I know there's one where we were almost at 60.
No, that was last one that we went like, it felt like forever.
Yeah.
It was because we went like
5 months, almost 6 months.
Yes. It
Without a ban
was
list?
like about 4 months, 4.5, almost 5 months.
Yeah.
But the one before that, it was like 27, 28 episodes, somewhere in that range. But it's kind of a crazy thought to think that we went 34 episodes between ban lists.
Yeah. We've been on average getting about 30 episodes per ban list.
No, we've been averaging like 25.
Oh.
Maybe less.
It really feels like 30.
Well, okay. Think about it like this.
Mm-hmm.
2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
If you do 34 episodes, that's 17 weeks.
Okay, which is like 4 months, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's fair.
it feels like a lot more, but think about last time. Like I said, we went, 14 episodes in the season?
Yeah.
That's literally 7 weeks.
Oh yeah. That was definitely a emergency ban list.
Yes. And this one, we're only going 9 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, it'll end up being 10, but still, 10 weeks. That's nothing.
To be fair, I think the reason why is part of that is entirely due to the fact that had we not gotten that emergency ban list, then we would be right at like that 30 episode mark.
Right.
So it is actually about that time.
Yeah, I guess it really is. If you don't count that last emergency list, we end up at like 32 weeks.
Yeah.
Or 32 episodes, which is like,
Yeah. Right on the money.
Yeah, 16 weeks. Huh. Well, it's on the money of what it would have been last time.
Yeah.
Which last time it was 2 months past due. So.
Oh yeah.
As far as the unlimits, though, just kind of shifting gears back to Forbidden and Limited list. The unlimits are kind of interesting for once.
I know. Okay, so one of them is just kind of like okay, yeah, we get it, and whatever, with the Yatagarasu.
Well, actually, okay. I think there is something worth discussing on all of these. Okay.
Really?
Yes.
Even
So,
Yada.
yes. Destrudo the Lost Dragon's version is funny for no other reason than with the use that it's seeing through the Bestials in the Sword Soul deck,
Mm-hmm.
and now with Ancient Fairy coming back, there is a world where you use Destrudo to make Ancient Fairy in the Sword Soul deck
Oh.
to get an extra normal summon
Yeah.
or an extra summon, whatever,
Yeah.
and extend on turn 0.
Yeah.
And then there's also a world where Destrudo coming back, like there's a world where Destrudo coming back really turns into a problem because of Ancient Fairy coming back. And also, I don't know. I think Ancient Fairy coming back could really make a difference here because of Destrudo's legality.
Oh, definitely.
We're gonna have to see. Jet Synchron and Mecha Phantom Beast Olion. It's very funny that Konami just decided a 1-card Link 2 or Link 3 is fine now. That's just something you're allowed to do now.
Yeah, which whatever. But like also those are all three of those were also tuners who were banned because of Christian originally because of Christian.
Destrudo was not banned originally because of Hulk.
Oh, okay.
It was banned a year and a half before Hulk was released over here.
Well, no, I was saying Jet Synchron and O-Line were both
You
banned.
said all 3.
Oh, my bad. I meant both.
Yeah.
Brain fart. I guess because all three of them are tuners.
Yeah.
So like those two were banned because of Hulk originally,
Yes.
and now they're back.
So yes, they are back.
Now that
So
Hulk isn't.
Jet Synchron, Mecha Phantom Beast O-Line is also like especially fine now that we also don't have a Rorodon.
Yeah.
So there's really not any real payoff from O-Line or Jet Synchron other than generic Link plays, which all the decks do that anyway.
Well, Jet Synchron is used in like actual Synchron spam decks.
Yeah, sure. And even O-Line is sometimes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like I said,
Those
Konami
are
has decided that 1-card Link 2s and Link 3s are just fine now.
Yeah.
Like, we're past that.
Yeah.
Servant of Endymion. This is another unlimit to the Pendulum decks. We are not surprised by this. Pendulum has been getting more and more cards off the list.
and it's done
Eventually, they'll be
nothing.
full power except for Electromite, and they'll still be bad, hopefully.
Listen, by the time Konami unbans Electromite, people are just gonna look at that and be like, huh. Anyway.
Right. I really think that Electromite could go the path of Wind Up Carry Zenmaity. Where, like, it's probably fine to let it go, but it'll just stay there forever.
Yeah, at this point, just to make fun of people.
Zenmaity really is one of my biggest pet peeves on the entire ban list.
To be fair, they have to get rid of Hunter first before they give us Zenmaity.
Yes, but I think banning Hunter and letting us have Zenmaity to 3 functionally does something because it allows the deck. So, okay, here's how I see it. Konami made the wrong decision banning Zenmaity. Well, at the time, Hunter should have been banned.
Yeah.
And Zenmaity has a reasonable argument to be either limited or banned.
Yeah.
But over the years, you should have had the Hunter ban and have Zenmaity
Come
at
back.
3. Because at that point, at least windups are an interesting and playable deck.
Oh yeah, well I mean with 3 Zenmaity, I immediately like thinking back at the combo because normally you would whenever you're doing your normal windup stuff, you end up with like 2 or 3 Zenmaities just sitting on your board with some other stuff.
Potentially, yeah.
I'm just like you can just then use them as link material to
Mm,
link into something.
yeah.
I could totally see them using that going all the way up into like an access code.
Well, they use it for Saryuja Skull Dread deep draw combos.
Oh, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
My brain immediately went to access code because I keep forgetting Saryuja Skull Dread is a thing, and it is a good card.
Yeah. True King Lithosagem the Disaster. I think that this is a cool card
Mhm.
that
Especially in Dino.
is past its prime. Dragonic Diagram is still limited, and while yes, True King Lithosagem, this is the card that I'm most afraid of coming back to 3
Mhm.
because of its utility in Dino decks. but with no good rank 9 payoff like you had with VFD.
It's not as bad.
Yes, but now you can at least play a full Lithosagem package within the Dino deck.
Oh yeah, and get all kinds of pops going on left and right, baby.
That said, I don't think that the Dino deck will be that competitive or that good until the new Dino support comes out and Kashtira has been dealt with.
Oh, absolutely. Well, if the new Dino still comes out and Cash still hasn't been dealt with,
We're all going to be upset.
yeah, there's going to be some problems.
Next, we have Yatagarasu. Okay, so I think Yatagarasu has the chance to be very impactful.
At 3 and not at 1?
Could have been impactful at 1, but
Mm-hmm.
the timing on this makes a difference because now, here's what's different.
Uh-huh.
Barrier statue is banned.
Oh. So your opponent can't just bury your statue and then essentially...
No, I'm just saying now Fluandereeze can just search Yatagarasu
He's not a
and
winged
lock
beast.
you. Doesn't matter. He's level 1. Jack in the Hand.
Oh, because then they have to run...
They can use Jack in the Hand or Small World.
That's fair, yeah.
So they Jack in the Hand, and you either have to give them one of their birds or Yatagarasu.
Yeah. And then you gotta worry about Yatagarasu not getting Yata locked, because
Yeah.
in this day and age, it's easy to accidentally Yata lock yourself.
I think that Yatagarasu could be a problem in that deck. Now, I'm fine with Yata being unlimited until
Yeah.
it actually becomes a problem.
I mean, it hasn't been a problem up to this point, has it?
No, but I see a world where it could be, especially now that the barrier statue is banned. They're going to be looking for something else to do.
Yeah, so they'll probably do Yata for a bit and then kind of shift off of it on something else, and then
I don't know that they'll do Yata for a bit, but the point is that they
Yeah.
can.
yeah, they theoretically could.
Right. And Spiral Resort, while I don't think it's overly impactful as long as Spiral Master Plan is banned.
I believe.
Spiral. Wait,
I mean, you can Command F Spiral.
yeah, but why would I do that when I can slowly search through the entire list?
Oh,
Okay, Spiral Master Plan is still banned. As long as
Yeah.
Spiral Master Plan is banned,
Yeah.
this card can reasonably be at 3. That's fine.
All right, you are welcome, Spiral players.
Yeah, and Quick Fix is still limited. So, you know what? Let him have it. So, with all that said, I do have a couple of things that I think that the ban... Overall, I think this is a much better list than people are giving it credit for.
Oh yeah, no, this is actually a good list.
Yeah, I don't see a world where the Kashtira cards get hit this early in their life cycle.
Well, particularly because like they haven't gotten their second wave of support yet.
Not officially. So,
Yeah, not
here's the
until
things...
next week.
Yeah, here's the things that Konami could have done that would have made this list maybe the best list of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Konami could have banned Wind Up Hunter and unlimited Wind Up Carries and Matey.
Yeah.
I will always say that on every ban list until it happens. They could have hit Unicorn, well, like Nightmare. They could have hit Kashtira Unicorn and Kashtira Fenrir.
Mhm.
And they did not. And I understand why. I really do.
Yeah.
Those cards have only been out for about 4 months. They haven't really had a full product life cycle.
Gotta sell them Cashteriosises.
And the Kashtira Theosis, as well as the new Primitive Planet, Field
Yeah.
Spell, all these Kashtira cards are being printed and released right now. Kashtira really hasn't had its time to shine as its own deck yet.
Mhm.
And I acknowledge that. But I still think that even a Fenrir limit would have been fine. Now, with that said, I think coming out of this list, Kashtira will be the best deck in the coming format.
Oh, easily.
But it will not be tier 0 in my opinion.
Oh, no. It'll be like... I'm thinking it'll be close.
I don't think it'll be close.
As far as that 65% representation, I
don't think it'll be close to that.
No, here's what I think is going to happen. Initially, we're going to have about a 40 to 45% representation initially, because new toy syndrome.
Okay.
After that, once that's worn off, it's going to drop down to about 30 to 35.
I think that we will have a couple of events where Kashtira is represented around like 25%.
Ooh, really?
And then it will spike up to around 45 to 50% at its peak. and then it'll fall back down and settle around 33%.
Okay.
And let me tell you why I have those numbers and why I have those. I think it'll start very low because Kashtira is the most vulnerable tier 0 threat, or, that high-end meta threat. It's the most vulnerable high-end meta threat we've ever had. In the sense of Kashtira, we've never seen a deck like Kashtira, in the sense that Kashtira dies to a lot of things. So, for example, Lava Golem, Winged Dragon Raw Sphere Mode, Book of Eclipse, Book of Lunar Eclipse, depending on what deck you're playing, because having that discard outlet is a legitimate thing. And even Swords of Concealing Light. All of these cards are legitimate side deck options and even main deck options going into next format because of these cards, because of these Kashtira cards. In a deck with that many silver bullets, where it can't stop them all, it doesn't end on really any hard negates necessarily.
Oh, no, not like at best, depending upon their hand, they can theoretically pump out a Baron early, but that represents
one. And that Baron does not stop Lava Golem or Sphere Mode.
Yeah. Or they're also weak to Nib.
Yes, they're extremely weak to Nib.
Oh yeah, cool. Cool. Like, as long as you nib them before they've locked down all 5 of your monster zones, you're good. You're golden. You're
The
going to
thing
be able to nib
is,
them way before that.
but that's what I'm saying, right? This deck has weaknesses. This deck has flaws. This deck is good, and it will be tier 1.
It's a glass cannon.
In a lot of ways, yes.
Yeah, really high power ceiling, but dies to...
It has silver bullets.
Yeah, it dies real easily to certain hand traps.
Or certain cards in general, because I think certain board breakers, really.
Some board breakers, and there are 1 or 2 hand traps that can also that they really don't want to have to deal with.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if they activate Shangri-La and you chain Imperm to it, like the first time they activate its effect to lock your board and you Imperm it, they don't lock your board down for the turn. That's great and all, but then they can still just make our eyes hard. And then,
still think, and they can even make Diablosis and still rip cards. So
yeah, and then when they pass, they'll still get that special summon out of the deck for free during your standby.
I think that like I said, it's a very good deck, and I understand that, and I'm comfortable with it being a very good deck.
It's frail
because I think it's frail,
very frail.
So while I think that there are arguments to be made that they could have hit things like Unicorn and the other guy, that Fenrir.
Yeah.
While I think there's legitimate arguments that they weren't going to hit Fenrir with him being an ulti in the newest OTS pack.
Yeah.
And they weren't going to be Unicorn because Unicorn hasn't really been a problem. And these cards don't have representative win rates to justify hitting them on the list.
Yes.
But this time.
Yeah, well, again, because a lot of decks were just running Fenrir as an unsearchable 3 of.
Yes.
I say unsearchable.
Ish.
But because once you've opened one, you've essentially opened all 3 copies. Because you summon one and you go and grab the other one.
Here's my last closing thought.
Mm-hmm.
Do not expect another ban list to be coming in 9 or 10 weeks. Do not expect a ban list in April.
Yeah, expect it in like
May at the earliest. It could be June.
It could even be early July.
It won't be early July. It'll be, in my opinion,
sometime
almost guaranteed mid-May, mid to late May. Because I don't think that this is actually going to be as bad of a format as people are making it out to be, including myself. I have also said this will be like the worst format we've had. I am stepping back on that. I no longer think that that's true. And I still think Kashtira is a good deck.
To be fair,
because they still have Kashtira tier limit.
Yeah. To be fair, we also weren't expecting them to legitimately hit tier limit this hard.
Right.
We were expecting tier limit to still be the number 1 best deck in the room, even with the cash still running around.
Yeah. So we'll see what Cash Money does, but in the meantime, I think we have some patrons to thank. What about you?
Do it, boy.
So, of course, want to give a huge thank you to all of our patrons. So, a special shout out to April Floodgate, Cam Yang, Dragonmaid, Stun Zed, Kane Martin, Zyphorus, Blackwing, Silverwind the Ascendant is the best Floodgate, Earth Machine, best deck, Epi. Has anyone actually read Toy Vendor, HGH Cyber, I am McLincoln, Mountain Man, Oatmeal Spaghetti, Owen Alvarado. Quitting the game as a Floodgate, singing in the shower was fun and all until I swallowed soap, then it became a soap opera. Unbanned number 95, Konami, understanding and reading are two different things. Virtually Saviors World, Rogue, and Tier 2 are the polite terms for bad deck. AD, Aaron Gardner, Asami, Ashless Chabs, Box Wine, Bestial, Pizza Hut, Duty Booty, Dragon Maidenless Behavior for Higher Dog Turd, Heroes, Pebble Cereal. I'm about to Rika Glamour Tribute for Cause D's Plant Nuts in Your Mouth. Cam, the disciple of Caleb's Waifu Philosophy, Old Man Red, Pin Code 143, Rescue Aces Tier 1 Watching, and Santa Claus. Thank you all, of course, so much for your continued support of the podcast. Now, if you want more like this, you can always check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, or Podbean, I think is the name of another one. Google Podcasts. Anywhere
I have no idea what the actual list is.
Yeah, it's a long list, but pretty much most places you can find podcasts, you can find us. So, again, thank you all so much for listening, and until next time, have a great week, everyone.
Take care, everybody.